Dear Mrs. Barr, we're writing this letter because buying a home hasn't been easy. After all those late nights and weekends of open houses and offers, seeing yours, we saw the start of something.
Buying your first home isn't easy. At Quest Mortgage, we'll show you a better way to get there. Welcome to the new way to mortgage.
2 years ago, I can't handle listening. I know it's the news, but man, that's that story about the story about child abuse. I don't know how those cops do that job, man. That job. But any of those stories are just so heartbreaking. And when I hear Tamara Cherry, talk about being a crime reporter for 15 years, not knowing to that stuff, how it's going to affect you and maybe catch up with you at a certain point. You know, few stories you feel. But when I hear that story, you feel certain things and you feel certain stories. I've never had, you can tell that I'm getting emotional right now, and you're probably thinking, well, maybe something happened to that guy. Nothing's happened to me. I don't have kids. But I just can't, like that story and those stories. And maybe it's an important thing that we're not doing anything on that story today. And maybe we should be, but I don't know that anybody, you need to hear that story because you need to know and you need to be vigilant about your kids and what your kids might be doing online. I couldn't talk about it. Like, it's just so heartbreaking. It's just, those stories are so heartbreaking. And it reminds me, in all of the kind of like going through life and experiencing things, and a kid who doesn't know anything, people now who don't know anything. One of the things that I've learned in my life is judging people and how garbage of a person I was in the past to, man, see somebody who's homeless and not know their story and judge them. When many people who are the drug addicts that you might look down your nose at, or the homeless people, their story and their childhood, I don't want to be a sweeping statement if I said it was all this, but I know that when I've interviewed homeless people covering the opioid crisis. Anyway, that is a bit of a segment that I did a couple of years ago here on the iHeart Talk radio network. I'm Jim Richards. This is News Talk Tonight.
Bell Media Weekenders is back and powered by Bargain Ford.
If you're looking for the best events and activities to explore in the National Capital Region, I've got you covered. I'm Sam Media Weekender. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV and all your favorite Bell Media radio stations. Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA.
Bell Media Weekenders powered by Bargain Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store.
Hi there, it's Jan Arden. Jan Arden Podcast. Can you believe they gave me one of those of my very own? We've got new episodes for you every week with special guests, hot takes, popular and some and maybe a little little bit of showbiz gossip. Search the Jan Arden Podcast wherever you get your podcasts and follow along at Jan Arden Pod so we can tell you who and what's coming up.
Hudson's Bay is bringing back BOGO on clearance items. Deals you can't miss on Mango, Levi's, Steve Madden, and more. While quantities last. This offer won't last long. Buy one. Items already reduced. In-store only at Hudson's Bay. Some exclusions apply.
580 CFRA AM Ottawa, a division of Bell Media and an iHeart radio station.
From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. RCMP say 3 people are dead and 2 others are seriously injured after a crash north of Kamloops, BC on Wednesday. The BC Highway Patrol says a report came in Wednesday morning about a multi-vehicle collision on Highway 5. Reports indicated 2 pickup trucks traveling in opposite directions clipped one another and then struck a third vehicle that spun out into a ditch. Emergency workers searched late into the night Wednesday for survivors and bodies in central Greece after a passenger train and a freight train crashed head-on. The collision just before midnight Tuesday killed at least 43 people and injured scores of others. The transportation minister resigned Wednesday, saying he felt like it was his duty to step down. The cause of the fail of Tempe was not immediately clear, but the train's last stop was arrested. British Columbia's prosecution service will not be laying charges following a second probe by a special prosecutor into a money laundering investigation into millions of dollars that moved through BC casinos and Chinese bank accounts.
Victoria lawyer Chris Considine was appointed last March to review the case after an earlier decision by the prosecution service that charge assessment standards had not been met and no charges would be approved. The investigation, dubbed E-Nationalize, Gaming Investigations Team. They identified 10 transactions between February and May 2017 in which about $20 million in bulk cash, bank drafts and casino chips were received and moved to clients, and more than $7 million was deposited to bank accounts in China. This is the second largest money laundering investigation in BC that has failed to yield charges. Nicole Reese, The Canadian Press.
Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly and fellow top diplomats from the in developing nations have opened what will likely be contentious talks dominated by Russia's war in Ukraine and China's moves to boost its global influence. Host country India appealed for all members of the fractured Group of 20 to reach consensus on issues of deep concern to poorer countries, even if the broader East-West split over Ukraine cannot be resolved. And Alberta-born songstress Joni Mitchell has a new lifetime achievement to display in her Library of Congress Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. Singer-songwriter Graham Nash, a former love interest, described blowing off his tour manager after laying eyes on Mitchell for the first time.
He said, look, do me a favour, don't talk to me. I'm trying to catch the eye of this beautiful woman. And he said, well, if you just listen to me, she's a friend of David Crosby's and she wants to meet you and her name is Joni Mitchell. My life changed.
Mitchell, from a brain aneurysm she suffered in 2015, closed Wednesday's show with her rendition of the George Gershwin classic Summertime. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Connor McDavid became only the 5th player in NHL history to have a 5th consecutive He did it with 2 goals and a helper in the Edmonton Oilers' 5-2 thumping of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Elsewhere, Dawson Mercer had a goal and 3 assists as the Colorado Avalanche 7-5. Dallas rallied to beat Arizona 4-2. The New York Rangers edged Philadelphia 3-2 in overtime. Washington beat Anaheim 3-2 in overtime, and it was Vegas 3-2 over Carolina. In the NBA, Jason Tatum scored 18 points in a pivotal the night with 41 as the Boston Celtics held on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 117-113. And the PGA Tour has approved sweeping changes to its 2024 schedule. 16 designated events that includes the majors. 8 of them will not have cuts and will have fields of no more than 80 players. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Live local breaking news.
When you want it.
Anytime.
Anywhere. Download the CTV News app now.
The leader of
the opposition in Ontario on the fact that perhaps the Ontario government is not spending money they claim on healthcare and Metrolinx. But first, the FDA has approved a drug that will stop vision loss. However, it won't reverse vision loss, so NHL referees will still need their guide dogs. Do you hear me on that? A proposed law in required teachers to report any kids if they heard kids talking about sex. That, is something else. USA! To a new poll, the top benefits of working the night shift or evening include more peace and quiet and never having to watch Jimmy Fallon's monologue. And finally, Rihanna will perform at the Oscars, but I don't watch the Oscars for the singing. I watch fighting.
Welcome back to News Talk Tonight with Jim Richards on the iHeartRadio.
The story in CTV News today that the Ontario government underspent on health, Metrolinx, and municipal infrastructure by the tune to $6.4 million. And I, seconds ago, wanted to refresh myself with the story, and I found similar stories from the last couple of years where this seems to be a habit of the Ontario government. What is really happening? To find out how they think about it, the Ontario NDP leader is here. Marit Stiles joins us. Marit, thank you very much for your time. What percentage of people pronounce your name correctly?
Not many, but you know what? I really am.
Is that where it is right now? That you don't think many people are saying Marit, right?
My whole life, and it's not an easy name. It's not a common name, so I don't mind. But it's Marit, but I really don't care.
All right, not to make you feel bad, but do you know what my name is?
Jim.
Yes, very good. There's no prizes though. So.
And you know what, Jim?
What?
You've got the best name. A name like Jim.
All right. I appreciate that. The Financial Accountability Office puts out a report today saying that the provincial government is underspending on things like health. I mean, people are crying for more money for health. Projects seem to be lasting a long time. I don't know if throwing any more money is going to make the Eglinton in Toronto LRT pop up any sooner. But can I start by, and you might not want to do this, Marit, but can I start by asking you for the devil's advocate on this and what the government is claiming, and not as believable.
Yeah, the government always says that these Financial Accountability Office reports are a snapshot in time, as if they're going to miraculously these funds that they've allocated for all kinds of different programs and services, but just sit on, and they just say, "Oh, it's just a snapshot. It doesn't really tell the whole story." But what we see is a trend. We see that over and over again, that this is what this government is doing. And the way I look at it is they are squirreling away investment dollars, swimming in cash, while Ontarians are really struggling, whether you're talking about healthcare or mental health services or education, badly needed sectors. And communities desperately need this, and the government is sitting on $6.4 billion.
Is the thinking, hey, look at us, we've balanced the budget, and them using this money to do that? Because I would be more willing to vote for a government that we're not, crying about the healthcare all the time than one. Look, we've balanced the budget.
Yeah, so the government is, that's. They want to look like they're being such great fiscal managers, but the truth is that while people are actually suffering out there, so we know that we have emergency rooms that are closed. There were 4,000 hours of emergency room closures last year. We have 12,000 kids waiting for surgery right now. So there are actual needs, really desperate needs in our system, and the answers are right here. They could reopen operating rooms that are collecting dust in some of our hospitals. That's all the surgeries. So why aren't they doing that? It's because they have this ideological bent toward changing the way that services are offered. And I think that's what this is about. And I'm sorry to say that, because I think there's a lot of people out there that would just like them to do the right thing right now.
I know it's one of your most favorite time of the years, going through this audit by the Financial Accountability Office. But what are they saying? Are these transfers from the federal government decided not to allocate despite the fact for?
Right. So most of this is money that's revenue from the province of Ontario, and so it's money that's also, like, let's be clear, this isn't just money that came out of the sky, out of nowhere. This is money that the government allocated. They said, okay, we're going to invest these dollars. This is how much we're going to invest in education and health and cities, communities, housing, mental health. And then they're just not spending it.
Yeah.
They're sitting on it and they're squirreling it away. And they're, you could say, okay, well, maybe they're squirreling it away for a rainy day, but they call it a contingency fund. They already have that rainy day fund. It's just huge, actually. So they don't need it for that. So I think what this is about is they're trying to create a bit of a crisis so they can make some changes in healthcare, for example, or they're not good managers. Yeah. Because I think, we all know that if you got a crisis, you invest.
Yeah, I mean, if they are trying to create care, that is very, very shameful. This amount of money that the Office says is $6.4 billion, and I don't know if you know how much healthcare would have received, but if it was 1/3 of that, because this money was supposed to be spent in healthcare, metro links, and municipal infrastructure, if, let's say, 1/3 of that went to healthcare, what can $2 billion do for the Ontario healthcare system?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Like, just for example, children's hospitals in Ontario have asked the government $171 million to help them deal with that surgical backload I talked about, that waiting list of 12,000 kids looking for surgeries. So $1 million would go a long way to help kids get the surgeries they need. So yeah, $2 billion would go a long way in healthcare, for sure. And it would certainly help us to maybe increase some of the wages for nurses and other healthcare workers that are leaving our healthcare system every day. And that would help us open up operating rooms, because a lot of the crisis in human resource crisis, it's staffing.
What can you tell me in this report what might be lacking in municipal funding?
One of the other big ones that I was looking at is the government hasn't spent about $120 million on municipal services. Here we are in cities, and we're looking at at our city governments not being able to house people, not be able to open up warming centers or clear our sidewalks, or we're having to cut bus routes. That $120 million, if it was spent like it was supposed to be, have better services in our communities. And so I think these are some of the things that the government is sitting on, the provincial government, and they should be making sure that investment flows. So better services on the ground in our communities.
And what of a government that goes with cap in hand, claiming that they're poor? And listen, I'm sure we wish we had a lot more money for healthcare, but goes to the federal government. Our people in Ontario need better services when it comes to healthcare. Give us more money when you're not spending the money that you said that you were going to. That's not just, hey, spend more money, but you said that you were going to. This is promised money that they're not spending.
That's right. Like, if you think about it, a lot of folks know, if you're given a budget to do something and then you don't spend it, it disappears, right? I mean, do you need it or not? And I think when you look at the situation that most people are in right now, and a lot of people are finding that life is less affordable today than it was 4 years ago. They're waiting longer in emergency rooms. They're not able to get a family doctor. It's irresponsible to leave money on the table when people are suffering. And this government knows that. All right.
Marit, thank you very much for your time. I said your name right?
You did. Yeah.
Exciting. Exciting times. Oh, everyone's so proud of me. The text board lighting up. Good to hear you pronounce words well. Podcaster, thank you very much for all the accolades about pronouncing Marit Stiles' name correctly. We reached out to the Ford government and did not hear back on the accusations made by the Financial Accountability Office and the opposition. Straight ahead, the the talk of, hey, could Last of Us really happen? That's straight ahead.
At TSN, our hockey insiders work their sources year-round. Great day on the NHL calendar. So when a GM makes a move, you'll know the story from every angle on every platform. Trade Center begins Friday at 8 a.m. on TSN.
Scene Plus Member Day is Tuesday, March 7th at Sobeys. Get 10% off your groceries or bonus Scene Plus points when you spend $75 or more and swipe your Scene Plus card. Exclusively for Scene Plus members at Sobeys. Exclusions apply. See in store and online for details.
A daughter who fights crime. A mother who writes crime. Solve cases.
We get arrested. You're covering bail.
But how to work together might just be the biggest mystery of all. The Spencer Sisters. All new Friday at 9. Set your PVR. Only on CTV.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 found help with their debt, and so can Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-318-1940. That's 1-800-318-1940. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-318-1940. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-318-1940. Number 470-5786.
Hi, I'm Michael O'Byrne. Manitic Place Retirement Community and the Miller Senior Apartments are hosting a Who's That Girl event March the 8th in honor of National Women's Day. We want to hear about the powerful journey of the women in your life. Nominate the woman of your choice and let us know why you think she's the greatest. Candidates will enjoy a complimentary luncheon, goodie bags, and prizes. Who's That Girl in honor of National Women's Day? Get all the details at .ca.
You don't have to look far to find the best of spring hockey as the Sensplex Spring AAA tournaments take over the city starting this April. The National Capital Region will be host to 9 of the most organized and well-run AAA hockey tournaments of your spring season at the facilities. Join teams from across Ontario, Quebec, and beyond in what is sure to be the most memorable tournament experience of your spring at a Sensplex Spring AAA tournament. Register at sensplex.ca/spring tournaments.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, or debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to but you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 191. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-288-4991. Ontario license number 470-5786.
There's something sinister going on. If you speak up, you're on the hit list.
Crave is home to the most riveting documentaries, like the 4-part true crime original, Thunder Bay.
It's racism. It's discrimination. It's because they are indigenous.
Based on the groundbreaking podcast.
We have cover-ups, conspiracies.
That's here. No one really knows the number.
Now on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Searching online for questions about your health isn't always healthy. You'll look up something simple like, why do I keep getting eczema? And whoosh, you're hurtling through an internet rabbit hole. 6 hours later, you've poured through every single online message board dedicated to every skin condition that's ever existed. Or you could just stop going down internet rabbit holes and start connecting to care. Visit ontario.ca/yourhealth to find pharmacists, nurses, and answers, and see all the ways we're helping you connect. Or by the Government of Ontario.
You don't have to look far to find the best spring hockey as the Sensplex Spring AAA tournaments take over the city starting this April. The National Capital Region will be host to 9 of the most organized and well-run AAA hockey tournaments of your spring season at the very best facilities. Join teams from across Ontario, Quebec, and beyond in what is memorable tournament experience of your spring at a Sensplex Spring AAA tournament. Register at sensplex.ca/spring tournaments.
Academy Award winner Viola Davis.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Exceptional female warriors to ever live. The Woman King. Stream now only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA. Talk tonight on the iHeartRadio Talk Network. Here's your host, Jim Richards.
This is the Nighttime Friendly on the iHeart Talk Radio Network. I'm Jim Richards. This is News Talk Tonight. The one thing everybody is talking about right now is a TV show called Last of Us. It is here on spoiler alert. Turn off my mic if I get too close to it, but it's basically I don't want to call it a zombie series, but it's a fungus that has kind of taken over and turns people into, for lack of a better term, zombies, based on a video game, and it is killing it right now on HBO in the States and Crave up here in Canada. A lot of people, as soon as it came out, went, who's the expert we need to talk to? And the expert is Tom Chiller. He's a fungal expert with the Center for Disease Control in the United States. He joins us.
I am excellent. Good to be with you.
Did you know about the video game?
I did not actually know about the video game, but I did hear about the series, and of course, was very interested to see what it was all about.
And I'm guessing that, so you knew the series was coming out, because I just prefer to picture you sitting in your office one day going, what the hell does everybody want to talk to me for right now?
Well, I have to admit, it was a little bit like happy, because I'm always happy. Fungi, and even if it's a sci-fi version, and to try to at least shed some light on the realities that we do face with these diseases.
Now, you just pronounced it fungi. That's going to ruin a lot of the fun for a lot of people who are wondering, send me questions going, has anybody asked if you're a fun guy to hang out with?
Well, I would say that I use that pun a lot, so I'm glad that people are asking. But yes, we have fun guys and fun gals here at the CDC.
So can you tell us, apparently what I'm reading from what you have talked to people about, that this is only 3 steps away from possibly being true, or are we making that sound a little too easy?
I think we're making it sound a little too easy. I mean, I think that the really interesting thing that they have based this series on is an actual occurrence of Ophiocordyceps, which is a fungus that does invade an ant and does sort of have a little bit of mind control over this ant. It causes places so that the fungus can actually grow and spread. You can imagine, though, an ant and a human are not 3 steps away from each other. There is a far cry from our different immune systems and, systems in general. So to make that leap, yes, many more than 3 steps.
Has anybody ever asked you about this prior to this series?
Not at all. I mean, this is not something that I had this series, and I was actually fascinated to see the documentaries and learn more about Ophiocordyceps. I mean, that was sort of neat for me, but no, had not been asked about it.
It's interesting asking astronauts that I've interviewed what the most realistic movie is about that sort of thing. I understand with what you just said off the top that it's probably not going to happen, but realistic, if somebody was going to tap you on the shoulder and say, we have this idea, can you look over, what would you say about what they've done so far?
Well, I mean, sci-fi is about jumping ahead. Sci-fi is about creating, some basis of reality and expanding it. And I think they've done a great job in doing that. And so they make, they turn a realistic issue for ants and maybe other insects. And fungi are complex organisms. They are really different. They're the closest things to humans out there in the pathogen world. They represent a kingdom of organisms. Somewhere around 3 to 4 are estimated to exist. We only know about 120,000 of them, and only 200 of those cause human disease. So yeah, there's a lot of potential. And so I like the way they've done this. Of course, I'm not worried about us turning into zombies anytime soon.
No, but if somebody did, do you have some who you'd like to see turn into zombies, or would you get into too much trouble there?
Oh, way too much trouble for that. But I appreciate the question.
So going back to what you just said, when the headline is away from this happening, but they're huge leaps. I get it, because one, we're much smarter than insects in order for the fungi to take over us. No, I'm mispronouncing it again. Can you tell me how I'm saying it? Fungi?
The beauty of this word is we say fungi, we say fungi. There are all different ways. So I'm happy with however you want to throw the name out there. We also call them yeast often. We also call them mold. Same thing.
Okay, so would the bottom line about that be that, hey, we're way more complicated than insects, so if they can do it to insects, it doesn't mean you can translate that to humans?
Absolutely. Very primitive brain in the insect, much more easily potentially manipulated. In this case, it does happen in the ant. Our systems are leagues more complex, and it probably took millions of years for it to evolve to happen in an ant, and so millions of years for something like this to even get close. That being said, right, there are fungal infections. There are fungi that cause infections in us, and I think it's critically important to be educating people that yes, there are fungus out there, not just the kind of fungus that cause athlete's foot.
Yep.
But there are fungi that can invade our bloodstream, that can cause organ damage, and that can kill us. And it's important that, we do use this opportunity to educate people.
Okay. Are mushrooms a fungi?
Yes, absolutely.
Now,
Another word for fungi or mushrooms. People often associate the word mushroom, however, with something that's edible, but they're all part of that kingdom.
Okay. My question would then be, my vegan friends get very disappointed if I have a steak. Do you start to get emotional if you see somebody eat a mushroom? Are you would you say, hey, let the mushrooms thrive and don't eat them?
I would say probably, because I'm dealing with the fungi that cause a lot of disease, suffering, and even death. So I would say that I'm on the opposite foot. I'm one who's generally, when I'm thinking fungi, I'm thinking danger, and I'm thinking death, and I'm thinking, bad infections. Although I think we all know on the food side, fungi are wonderful things to be. And, they have a lot of interesting medicinal purposes. Many of our great drugs that we use today are produced by fungi, like penicillin, for example.
And a lot of people, it might be illegal where a lot of people are listening right now. In fact, it probably is, but I know a lot of people are off their anxiety medication because they use mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's going to be more and more therapeutic uses for these kinds of medicines, PTSD, other things where they're exploring some of these, medicinal purposes. Mushrooms, fungi have been, in using medicinal and pharmaceutical drugs, over the last 50, 60 years.
Given what you said about how it is probably a stretch that this would happen in real life, I'm guessing you have seen some dramatic examples of manipulation of behavior in other animals because of fungi.
Not so much animals. Again, this is it's been documented, as in the insect world. thing that we get to any kind of manipulation and behavior is not really manipulation. It's the fact that you might have a swollen brain or central nervous system because of an infection, and those people unfortunately can get into comas and can be very sick. So it's not. I would never use the word manipulation. It would be an infection that's causing brain swelling that can cause you to go into a coma, and we've certainly unfortunately seen that with fungal diseases.
Are we in a place, and I don't know if this ask, but are we in a place where our minds could already, depending on who we are, by parasites?
I do not think so. And I'm definitely not the parasitic expert, but I would say based on my experience, we are not there.
Great stuff. Really appreciate your time, and hope you enjoy the rest of the series, like I'm from the series or something, and it means a lot to me. But it's great to know that you're enjoying it as much as the rest of us are. Fungal expert with the Center for Disease Control in the United States. Tom, thank you very much for your time.
Great to be with you.
That's Tom. Is the Nighttime Friendly on the iHeart Talk Radio Network.
The Morning Rush with Bill Carroll.
I'd like to talk to you about it because I've always found this fascinating.
Keeping you informed.
No one told me this was a thing.
Keeping you entertained on the way to work or working from home.
And inflation has proven to be pretty tough, pretty stubborn.
The best way to start your day.
Has the government done enough to cushion the blow for Canadians?
The Morning Rush with Bill Carroll on News Talk.
The FRA. Always streaming on the iHeartRadio app or your smart speaker.
We are Ottawa's home. Breaking news.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-318-1940. That's 1-800-318-1940. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-318-1940. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-318-1940. Ontario license number 4705786. Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time. Hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances, but you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They can help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. You don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 1-800-288-4991. Let Consolidated Credit free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-288-4991. Ontario license number 4705786.
Saturday, March 4th at 2 p.m., the Saginaw Spirit are in town to take on the Ottawa 67s in the arena at TD Place. The 67s have been on a tear all season long and have already clinched a playoff spot. Come cheer them on as season supremacy. And to start forward, Logan Morrison continues his march to the top of league scoring. Get your tickets now, starting at just $25 at ottawa67s.com. Presented by the Salvation Army.
We love our pets, accidents and messes included. That's why this month at Alexanians, we're featuring Shawfloor's Pet Perfect Carpet at savings up to 50%. Designed for the whole family in mind, Pet Perfect features built-in protection from staining, fading, pet hair, and everyday messes and odors. Pet Perfect Carpet. Perfect now at up to 50% off. Visit Alexanian with 3 Ottawa locations, Industrial Avenue, Canada, and Nepean. Hockey is for everyone, and on Saturday, March 4th, the Ottawa Senators welcome you to Canadian Tire Centre. Columbus Blue Jackets in a 7 p.m. puck drop.
Duchla cuts in, scores! The Senators march all the way back from out of it to into it to taking it.
And for the first time this
season, all fans in attendance will receive a free Sens Pride t-shirt. Join us March 4th and celebrate all the people who love our great sport. Get your tickets now. Visit Senators.com. Go Sens, go!
This is News Talk 580 CFRA. Ottawa's home for live, local, breaking. This is News Talk Tonight with Jim Richards on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
David Gilmour. We're going to hear from some people who have through the years and the importance of this album for so many, including the person who turned me on to it when I was in college and young, my college roommate. First, Marsden. Dave Marsden has had an impressive career, the man behind one of the most unique radio stations in the world, CFNY. It was playing new music at a time when nobody else was in the 80s, but also he was a DJ on Chum FM. And that's our sister station now here in Toronto. When he did not know he was the first person to play Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh my gosh, do I ever remember that night? Oh, I mean, dark, unknown to anybody. I played the first side, and I thought, I got to play the second side. I played the second side, and then I thought, I got to play it all again. And the phones were going crazy, and it was just nutty. And at the time, we didn't realize that it was the world premiere of Dark Side of the Moon. If I'd known that, Chum FM probably would have been just. But, just because I loved it so over again on my show on Friday at nythespirit.com. And trust me, after 50 years, Dark Side of the Moon is still one of the great albums that we, each and every one of us, had an opportunity to share.
We'll hear from Jeff Woods, who does a great show talking about classic albums, and also Richard Krause. Mini draft of best songs on the album this hour as well. But first, here's my college on why he was such a huge fan of this album.
Hi, this is Greg Moulton, and I've been asked by Jim to explain why it is I like Dark Side of the Moon so much. It's celebrating its 50th anniversary today, and I could go with a standard answer and say, well, it's the best-selling album of all time. It's the greatest 70s album of all time. It ranks at number 3 on albums musically of all time, but that really is what everybody would say. Really, being a fan of Pink Floyd, albums that blew me away. I was a fan of their early stuff, the psychedelic stuff, and this was kind of a departure for them from the psychedelic era. Now, they've had some great albums since, but I don't think they've ever been able to top Dark Side of the Moon, not musically or successfully. They kind of started out with a lot of psychedelic music. They did some movie soundtracks with More and Obscured by Clouds. They did probably my least favorite album was Atom Heart Mother, but that kind of led the way to Dark Side of the Moon, because Dark Side of the Moon was Atom Heart Mother was as well. It just wasn't as well done, but flowed from one song to the next, to the next, to the next. Then you flip the album over and you listen and it was all flowing again. And they really seemed to come together musically. It was rock. there was a little bit of psychedelic there, but more rock than psychedelic. And I think that's what makes it my favorite album, is that it was a transition period. It really how David Gilmour was also important with the band. And that would be why I Dark Side of the Moon so much and listen to it over and over again.
And I had to listen to it over and over again as he was my college roommate. And then I was like, okay, I can understand Pink Floyd. But one of the greats in this country when it talks about appreciating music is Jeff Woods, who used to be a colleague of mine. He's had every job in the music industry and in radio, including programming Q107. Hi now, here's Jeff.
Yes, Jeff Woods from Records and Rockstars, the radio show and podcast. Some of us, maybe you, remember the first time or a special time hearing the Pink Floyd album of March 1, 1973, called The Dark Side of the Moon. There's so much of interest about this record, but the two things I'm going to share with you, A, have to do with talking to 3 of the 4 guys who made the record album, and B, telling you that it's the one album I count on when testing out a new pair of stereo speakers. I mean, good from the first cut to the final cut. If you can turn the Dark Side of the all the way, and it sounds like the band is in the room with you, you bought the right pair of speakers. I just played it a minute ago, again, for the millionth time, through my Bose 901s. And not to shame anybody listening, but don't be silly and play classic albums through little wee Bluetooth speakers that sit on the kitchen island where you... Time to get back to basics with a proper power amp and speakers and a turntable. Now, as for the guys from Pink Floyd that I talked to, Roger as usual, but those words he wrote when he was like 28 years old, unbeatable, and so we put up with them, to a point. Unless you're David Gilmour, who's had it up to here with the rhetoric of Waters. I did manage to get Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason to speak to the content, the lyrics of the songs in The Dark Side of the Moon. Last we spoke in New York City. Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason on The Dark Side of the Moon and Roger Waters.
Writing, certainly in terms of the lyrics, the thing I think is perhaps most interesting about it is that they were written by Roger when he was in his early mid-20s, but they are as relevant and possibly even more relevant to a 50, 60-year-old than they are to that age group. And that, I think, is one of the sort of the most extraordinary aspects of that. That it has, in terms of relevance, it's as relevant now as it was then, and if not more so.
There he is, Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason, and there's reviews and stories about the music on the Records and Rockstars podcast at jeffwoodsradio.com.
We thank Jeff for putting that together. Richard Krause, who we know as someone who loves movies, also I think loves music just as much. Here he is commenting earlier today.
Hey everybody, I'm Richard Krause from the podcast Last Call with Richard Krause. I was about 8 years old when it came out, and the coolest record I owned back then was probably the Chipmunks Sing the Beatles. So I wasn't a hipster, but I became aware of Dark Side of the 16-year-old brother Gary, who was a hipster, and he had all the really cool records. I remember being freaked out by the weird paranoid face on his copy of Court of the Crimson King, but I loved the cover of Led Zeppelin 3 with the rotatable wheel that changed the artwork when you spun it around. I would see the covers of his records usually littered on the floor of his bedroom, but the records themselves were off limits to me. Little greasy fingerprints on the vinyl. Anyway, I was a terrible sleeper, and one night, after being up all night, I finally managed to fall asleep as the sun came up. As I lay there, out like a light, it's getting later and later for school, so my mother told my brother to wake me up. Now, being a genius, he did that by loading all his stereo equipment in my room, his either side of my turning up the volume to 11 and playing Time, the Pink Floyd song from Dark Side of the Moon that begins with dozens of alarm clocks going off at ear-splitting volume. I leapt out of bed, probably swore for the first time in my life, and punched him in the mouth. It was a jarring introduction to that record, and every time I play that album, I think about what an my brother was that day.
That's great. We thank all of those people, Greg Moulton, also Richard Krause, David Marsden, and Jeff Watts on greatest albums of all time, greatest selling record of all time. So we thought we'd do a mini draft with two teams picking their favorite songs from Dark Side of the Moon. Eric and Daryl are next here on the iHeart Talk Radio Network.
The Party Down reunion.
Yes! It's time to celebrate. Star's critically acclaimed comedy Party Down returns for a new season.
Are we having fun yet?
The gang is back. They're all dressed up and still going nowhere.
This is not 40s.
This is catering. Party Down, now streaming on Stars. Subscribe now at stars.ca. Also available on Crave.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have, and so can you, with Consolidated Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They can help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 1-800-288-4991. Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-4991. Ontario license number 4705786.
Lottery license RAF 1300108. 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
Go to Chio5050.ca and enter now in the Chio 5050 lottery. The first early bird deadline is Wednesday, March 29th. Buy your tickets now to be eligible for this all-cash lottery. Last year's winner took home over $1 million. All proceeds help Chio to provide the exceptional care that families deserve. .ca. Get your
United Way East Ontario knows that local love lives right here in our communities. Every day, we see incredible acts of kindness from people like you who don't hesitate to lend a helping hand. With your continued support, we can tackle issues like poverty, social isolation, and mental health. Together, we can make a difference for thousands of residents who depend on United Way. Donate today at United Way EO 613-228-6700.
Searching online for questions about your health isn't always healthy. You'll type in a question right before bed like, why do I keep getting hives? And whoosh, you're hurtling through an internet rabbit hole. One sleepless night later, you've thrown out all your lotions, body washes, soaps, and detergents because you're definitely allergic to everything. Or you could just talk to a registered nurse. Stop going down internet rabbit holes and start connecting to care. Visit ontario.ca/yourhealth to find pharmacy answers and see all the ways we're helping you connect to care. Government of Ontario.
They say the game starts when the puck is dropped, right? Wrong. NHL Preplay, presented by Bet99.ca, is the game before the game. It's the free-to-play daily NHL Pick'em game. So how's it work? Every day before the puck is dropped, answer up to 10 questions and earn points towards daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly prizes. It's that easy. Score big with the game before the game. Sign up today at /NHL Preplay.
The EA Sports NHL 23 World Championship is here with more events, more tournaments, and more chances to win than ever before. Test your skills playing EA Sports NHL 23 against the best gamers in the world for the chance to represent your favorite team. Win a trip to NHL events and compete for a share of $150,000. Register now and get all the details at nhl.com/NHL.
This is News Talk 580, CFRA. It's News Talk tonight on the iHeartRadio Talk Network. Here's your host, Jim Richards.
th anniversary anniversary on what is considered one of the greatest rock albums of all time, Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon, with a mini draft. If you hear us when we normally do it on Tuesday, it's basically like a sports draft where we ask two experts in their field to draft their favorite, in this case, song. Categories could be one-hit wonders or guilty pleasures. Today, off of Dark Side of the Moon. So that means Eric Alper, who is a great music correspondent, a blogger, and a man you probably have heard on the radio station a lot. Check him out at ericalper.ca or on his Twitter. And Sturden joins us right now as well, and he is the founder of the White website, Tinnitus. Guys, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. We're all ready to go.
We're going to show. We do two segments, but I thought first, guys, could you give me a short little spiel on what you think makes this album so great, Daryl?
Oh wow! Well, I mean, it's just a classic. It's it's one of those things you put on and listen to from start to finish, and it's perfect on headphones. It's great in an altered state, shall we say? It's the ultimate 70s record.
All right. What about you, Eric?
It's probably the greatest album that encompasses all that is life: birth, and then death. And no other album, I think, just was able to hit on all of those four areas so well and so meaningful.
Let's do both of your numbers. We're going to start off with Eric Alper. Eric, your number 5 song is Eclipse.
It's song pretty much on the record. It's song number 10, and I love it because it brings it back to the first song on the album, so it's a nice closer.
Pink Floyd's Us and Them, number 5 song. Why?
Well, it's one of Roger Waters' many anti-war numbers, but it's also set inside this dreamy, drifting ballad. It's got great echoing vocals, that gorgeous, very swelling churchy organ from Rick Wright. It's the longest song on the album, and it's just a masterpiece.
We're counting down each of our experts' favorite 5 songs from Dark Side of the Moon. So let's go to number 4 now. Pink Floyd's Brain Damage. Why is this such a great song for you, Eric?
Because it's really who endured a mental breakdown, and the lines in the song just encompasses the whole. And you're in, starts playing different tunes. I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
Great song. It's funny, so many of these songs I think people know, not knowing that that's from Dark Side of the Moon. Here's the number 4 pick for Daryl. The Great Gig in the Sky. Daryl?
I think it's one of the most unique songs that Pink Floyd have recorded. I mean, incredible wordless vocals from Claire Torrey. I love the fact 30 pounds for it and didn't even know she was on the album until she saw it at a record store. And she got an out-of-court settlement in 2005, and I'd love to know what the check was for.
Oh, man, I can't imagine. Okay, that's number 4 from Daryl. Let's go to the number 3. So, no, we're at number 3. Eric Alper. Any Color You Like.
The reason why I love this song is because I think I figured it out when I was a little bit high, trying to figure out what this album was about. And it's really about the fact that you can have a different life. You can be from anywhere in the world, but it's all the same. You go through the exact same emotions as pretty much anybody else. You can have as many different choices, but any color you like, they're all going to be the same, which is where the title comes.
It's the Dark Side of the Moon's 50th anniversary, and we're counting down each of our experts' 5 favorite songs from the album. That was number 3 from Eric Alper. Any Color You Like. Number 3 from Daryl Sturden is Breathe. Daryl.
I just love this one. It's got such a great groove, It's Gilmore and Wright for the music, and Rick Waters, Roger Waters on the lyrics. I mean, you've got Gilmore on that gorgeous lap steel, the hazy vocals, Rick Wright's organ. Just a little gem, you know?
Beautiful. Pink Floyd's Breathe from Dark Side of the Moon, the 50th anniversary with Eric Daryl Sturden, counting down their 5 favorite songs from the album. That takes us to Eric Alper's number 2 favorite song. On the Run, Eric.
Of this song, and mostly because it's about the pressures of air travel, and if anybody knows me, they know that I'm terrified of planes, and it goes within the whole concept of the record, which is ultimately the fear of death, and we're all going to die one day. And happy March.
On the Run is a classic, and we don't have time for it to get really into it, but all of these songs that people my era, you probably know all of them. Let's find out what Daryl has as his number 2 favorite song on the album. Time, Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned this is a staple of classic rock radio. You know, I love the groove in the underpinning the song is just fantastic. I love the fact too that those clocks that start off the song were recorded by Alan Parsons as an engineer just doing that to test quad recording equipment, and then it ended up on the album. Interestingly enough, this is the only song in the album that credits all 4 of the band members for the song. Last Pink Floyd song to do so in their entire discography.
Wow, I did not know that. I did know about Alan Parsons talking about that, though.
Time. He suggested we might like to have these clocks. My memory of it is just this room full of tapes rolling around, because without any sort of computer help, everything had to be done.
Getting all the clocks to chime at the right time.
And then the very critical thing of tapes starting at a specific moment, which is all done with hands and stopwatches.
This is the number 1 song Eric Alper is picking from Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon. Speak to me, Eric.
This song. Look, the importance of an opening song on a classic album is paramount. With this one, the first thing you hear is silence, and 10 seconds later, you have a heartbeat, and 20 more seconds, the ticking of a clock. The helicopter, a bit of laughter, it's all in here. It sets up the album so perfectly, and for an album that sold 45 million copies, the fact that you hear silence for so long is kind of paranoid-like, but I love it.
And here's Daryl's number 1 song. Daryl, I got 20 seconds for you. Why this one?
Well, why not this one? I mean, I think if you ask anyone song off of Dark Side of the Moon, they're going to pick this one. And it's just, again, such a unique, great song. 4-time signature, the sound effects, that bass line walking all over the neck. It's just fantastic.
Guys, thank you very much. Eric Alper and Daryl Sturden on the top 5 songs they're picking from Dark Side of the Moon on the 50th anniversary.
I'm Michael O'Byrne. Manitic Place Retirement Community and the Miller Senior Apartments are hosting a Who's That Girl? In honor of National Women's Day. We want to hear about the women in your life. Nominate the woman of your choice and let us know why you think she's the greatest. Chosen candidates will enjoy a complimentary luncheon, goodie bags, and prizes. Who's That Girl in honor of National Women's Day? Get all the details at maniticplaceretirement.ca.
Satisfy your snack cravings with Farm Boy popcorn. It's on sale this week, $1.50 off the 125-gram bags. Now just $1.99, including real butter, sodium, all popped with coconut oil.
Enjoy the fresh out. An important role in the lives of school-age children. Get paid to make a difference in your community. Become a crossing guard. We are currently recruiting crossing guards for the school year. We offer a competitive wage with various perks and opportunities for bonuses. Join the Ottawa Safety Council in keeping kids safe in the nation's capital. Find out more at crossing-guard.
Bravery isn't the absence of fear. Bravery is being afraid and still moving forward. Be brave. Support by phone, text, or chat is available at the Center of Ottawa and Region. dcottawa.on.ca.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA AM Ottawa, a division of Bell Media and an iHeart radio station.
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Your update from the CTV Ottawa newsroom starts now.
To Van Keys, it's -1 with a light freezing drizzle. Your full forecast is coming up. First, your top stories. Justice Director David Vigneault is scheduled to appear today before a parliamentary committee studying allegations of foreign interference in our elections. Prime Minister Trudeau insists his government is looking very carefully at the recommendations from a report that evaluated the protocol for monitoring the 2021 vote. He should explore lowering the threshold for when to notify Canadians about potential interference in a campaign.
We've seen over the past number of days and weeks many Canadians very concerned foreign interference into our democracies, into our election processes. We share that concern.
Trudeau continues to reject calls for a public inquiry. The first budget of the Mark Sutcliffe era at Ottawa City Hall has been passed, but Wednesday's council meeting had some issues. Jackie Perez.
A chaotic start to the final budget meeting as protesters burst into council chambers.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to stop disrupting the meeting, please.
Police asked Brown and Bailey Gauthier outside City Hall. They've been pressing council to decrease police funding.
The main message was to councillors to say, please vote no to this police budget.
City Council approving the police budget that saw an increase of $15 million. As for OC Transpo, fares will be frozen this year. 17 buses will be placed out of service, and route changes are pending. Council also approving a 2.5% increase, which will cost homeowners about $104. Jackie Perez, CTV News.
A new development in Orleans is facing delays because of an issue with parking space. Some neighbors say they're worried about traffic problems. Here's CTV's Leah LaRocque.
The building includes 81 units. 1/3 would be affordable housing, but the plan only has 61 parking spaces. Jim Rycroft lives nearby. He says the lack of parking will mean calling it the potential for a traffic nightmare.
Well, seniors go along here with their walkers, kids go across to the park. It's a busy area. We have to do something to get it right.
More than 800 residents signed a petition opposing the development. The plan was sent back to city staff, delaying the project.
Oh no, I'm not against affordable housing at all. It's just, I think there's other places that be a little bit better.
It's a bunch of crybabies.
You need it?
With the LRT coming, and there's not a lot of affordable housing, so it should be coming here.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
The Bayard Market BIA is dissolving later this year as a new structure will be created to oversee the district. The city, the BIA, and Ottawa Markets formed a working group to look at a new governance model. Rideau Vanier Councillor Stephanie Blount supports the move.
The market one united voice to the city, and this is one of the ways they can do it. And they also want to partner a bit more with a lot of more districts around the province, and I think this will give them the leverage to do so.
Businesses say they're hopeful the new model will create a more vibrant Bayard Market with new opportunities for improved safety and security. That's the latest from the CTV Newsroom. In-depth coverage, audio, video, and more at CFRA.com and CTVNewsOttawa.ca. TV Weather Center for us.
Snow mixed with freezing drizzle this morning. Then we've got snow early this afternoon. We'll pick up a few centimeters, 2 degrees the high. And on to Friday, sunny sky with a high of 0. Friday night, we've got snow starting up. A large low pressure system with plenty of moisture is going to bring us snow right through Saturday. When it's all said and done, we could pick up 20 centimeters of snow by afternoon. Time now Now for a look at your time-saver traffic. A wintry mix of wet snow and freezing rain started falling last night. Road conditions could be a little unpredictable. Make the right call on your drive, and the right call? Play on PointsBet. Download the PointsBet app. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Ontario only.
Live local breaking news.
When you want.
Time.
Anywhere. Download the CTV News app now.
When you or your loved one suffers a catastrophic injury, you need someone who understands the law. You need Yegendorf Rashid Injury Lawyers. Yegendorf Rashid's decades of experience in the complex legal system let you focus on what really matters, getting better. Taking on insurance companies in a civil action should be the last thing you need to worry about. New firm name, same great team. Yegendorf Rashid Injury Lawyers. Experience, knowledge, and a commitment to excellence.
Desjardins Insurance presents Know Your Clients. Playing today is Desjardins agent Janelle.
Let's do this.
Janelle, what did your client Kelly just purchase?
A season ski pass.
So you suggested
winter. They'll help her save money on auto insurance.
And?
Make winter her wonderland.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Switch to a Desjardins insurance agent who gets to know what you really need. Desjardins Insurance. Exclusions and conditions.
Top Hats does it all for you. Duct cleaning, heating, and cooling too. We do that. You better call Top Hat.
More than 25 years of roofing experience makes Top Hat the experts you should call. From roof repair and replacement and maintenance, you can rest assured that your roofing job will be done right and last the test of time. Call now for a free estimate. Financing is available.
'Cause we do that. Top Hat.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you, with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. Nonprofit credit counseling organizations in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They can help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 1-800-288-4991. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Toll free today for a free consultation. 1-800-288-4991. Ontario license number 4705786.
Going on. If you speak up, you're on the hit list.
Crave is home to the most riveting documentaries, like the 4-part true crime original, Thunder Bay.
It's racism. It's discrimination. It's because they are indigenous.
Based on the groundbreaking podcast.
We have cover-ups, conspiracies.
There have been so many deaths here, no one really knows the number.
Thunder Bay. Stream. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Homeowners Judy and Janet had a basement that looked less and more ew. On Alpine Credit's website, they tapped their way to an easy home renovation loan. Our hero was sent to help. Their renovated basement now has theater seating and a bar. He even used his super strength to crush ice for beverages with his bare hands. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Your home is your largest. You owe it to your. Call Jeff Walker with RE/MAX. It costs you nothing and gives you another option on pricing and strategy.
Walker Real Estate. Real life, real estate. Choose WalkerOttawa.com.
It's the right time for Anchor Home Comfort.
It's going to be another hot summer, and our air conditioner barely kept up last year.
I'm calling Anchor. I see their green trucks all the time.
It's Anchor Home Comfort's pre-season. Right now, save up to $3,000 on a new system. Down and no interest financing. Hurry, this deal ends March 31st.
Anchor Home Comfort peut vous servir en français.
It's the right time for Anchor Home Comfort.
Go to AnchorHomeComfort.com today to save.
Hudson's Bay is bringing back BOGO on clearance items. Deals you can't miss on Mango, Levi's, Steve Madden, and more. While quantities last. This offer won't last long. Buy one, get one free on items already reduced. In-store only at Hudson.
At TSN, our hockey insiders work their sources year-round. The biggest trade day on the NHL calendar. So when a GM makes a move, you'll know the story from every angle on every platform. Trade Center begins Friday at 8 a.m. on TSN.
Mix and Match at Sleep Country is back, where we'll match you to the right mix of products no matter your sleep style. So whether you're a toasty sleeper, a sprawler, or a mix of everything in between, our sleep experts can help you find the sleep essentials you need. And now for a limited time, get a hot buy on a queen mattress for only $479. Its cool gel quilt helps wick away moisture and get more deep sleep. But hurry, this offer ends Sunday, only at Sleep Country. Sleep well, stay well. Sleep Country.
The Princess Margaret Home Lottery VIP deadline is midnight tomorrow. Buy early to be in to win 5 VIP prizes of $50,000. A home makeover, dream vacation, shopping spree. The possibilities are endless. Plus, be in for over 20,000 exciting prizes. The $8.2 million prize, the early bird prize, and more. Your support helps fund life-saving cancer research at the Princess MargaretLotto.com. Play responsibly. Raffle number 1277222.
That is the sound of a real glass in your hand, filled with complimentary beverages while you're comfortably seated on your Porter Airlines flight. Add in the crunch of your free premium snacks, and it's all sounding pretty good. To be treated so well on an all-economy flight. Every seat on every flight, including yours. Book at flyporter.com. Porter. Actually enjoy economy.
At Hydro One, we believe in bringing hope to families when they need it the most. With our Winter Relief Fund, we're providing financial assistance, payment flexibility, and more choice so you can focus on what truly matters. Connect with us to access hydro1.com/winter.
Hi, I'm Brian Berlott, CEO at and Recruitment. Are you currently seeking temporary or permanent employment? Maxis can assist you in landing the perfect position today. Professional, IT, administration, call center, assembly or trades, get the job you want. Visit maxis.ca. SYS.ca.
Maxis has helped over 100,000 people get jobs. Let them help you. Get started today. Visit maxis.ca.
If you're in the mood for way crunchier and way cheesier, Subway's new teriyaki crunch subs are here with new crispy onions and way more melty cheesy goodness.
Okay, let's try that last time again. Take a bite first.
That's Subway crunchier. Hey.
That wasn't me. I think it was the sub.
Subway crunchier and cheesier with Subway's new chicken or steak teriyaki crunch. Only at Subway. Visit us in store or order on the app.
The market has shifted. 40% of homes in Ottawa are not selling. We will sell your home for the highest price possible, guaranteed.
Or Marnie will buy it. The Benepro's just sold 50 Gale Elizabeth Court, Cornwall in 6 and 15 McCooey Lane for top dollar.
We have 40,000 buyers in our database, so your home may already be sold.
Call Marnie at 233-8606 and start packing.
It's the Morning Rush, live at 5.
Morning, Katie. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Bill. I'm doing all right. Bit of a slow start.
Brenda, good morning. What's going on, Bill? I don't know. It's another Thursday.
Yeah.
I want to say Leafs for sucking so much last night that I got a good night's sleep.
Oh, no.
All the hype from the trades, and then a dud.
Went to bed after the end of the second period.
Yeah.
They were down 5-1. Yeah, that was a bit of a stinker. I mean, I guess you've changed 30% of your team in, 10 days? And much of that in the last couple of days. First time together? Maybe. But here's the reality. is not living on the same planet as Austin Matthews anymore. Last year, you could make an argument. No, Matthews won the big trophies, but some people said, yeah, but come on, McDavid's still the best player on the planet. Last season, it was close. This year, wow, something is wrong with Austin Matthews. They built an entire playoff team around a guy who's not a superstar right now. It hasn't been all season long. Crazy. And McDavid could single-handedly win a Stanley Cup. Carry that team on his back all the way to the Stanley Cup. Incredible. Now, the and got themselves Jacob Chychrun.
Is that how you pronounce it? I was trying to look into that this morning. Chychrun?
Well, you better get used to it. You're going to hear that name a lot.
I'm excited.
Yeah, from the Arizona Coyotes. They've been, that guy's wanted to be traded for like a year and a half. And he was sort of the big piece on the trade board. A lot of teams like Edmonton tried to get him, and just Arizona was, we want a lot for him. Then in the end, Dorion just waited out everybody and got him, I think, for the right price. I won't say cheaply, but what, a first-round draft pick, a couple of second-round draft picks, conditional.
Yeah.
Almost robbery compared to what other teams wanted. He is going to help the Sens right away. Their odds, I noticed online, their odds of making the playoffs exploded exponentially better at the minute that trade announcement. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Don't know if we'll get to talk to anyone from the Sens organization today. Well, we do have Gord, though. It's fortunate timing.
Perfect day for Gord, yeah.
Gord Wilson will be here right on time. Right on time and on budget, that Gord Wilson. So I texted him a bit last night. He was pretty excited.
That would be it's a whole kind of, it's just one more thing, in my opinion, that's putting the Senators. I know now.
They were so fun to watch in the last few games.
Oh, yeah.
And now they've added this great, important piece, like a difference maker on defense.
And he's been rumored to come to Ottawa for a little while now.
Yeah.
Like, he has ties to Ottawa, like him and his dad, Jeff Chychrun, kind of grew up in the area. And all summer, there were reports that Ottawa was working on a trade, but the Coyotes wanted a lot. There's rumors of and prospects. Ridley Gregg was one of the names that was thrown out there a lot. Shane Pinto was one that was thrown out a lot. And
that's what you assume him. And in the end, they didn't.
Yeah. So,
and when you're a team like Ottawa, I mean, nobody likes to give up first-round draft picks, but a first-round draft pick might become a player a few years down the road. The Sens are good enough that they need help right now to get that. They call it the Stanley Cup window, is how everyone in sports puts it these days. But they need the help now to extend the length of time that window is going to be open. It's not the time to be betting on first-round draft picks. You could make 10 first-round draft picks. Jacob Chychrun. The only issue, as you know, Bunda, is he's had some injury problems.
Yeah.
So you worry about that. Did you just get a guy who's not gonna play full seasons very often? Hope not. Could have just been a bit of a bad luck streak he's been on. Anyway, it's exciting.
Yeah, for the Sens too. Katie brought up a good point of where there was so much excitement throughout the off season, right? All the changes, they went out and they brought in Claude Giroux. They extended Tim Stützle. Like, they were all ready to go. Traded for Cam Talbot, and then you did kind of terribly for them again for the last 3 or 4 years. But now they've been hyped up, like you said, a couple big wins against the Red Wings. Now a huge trade to kind of, all right, the trade deadline's on Friday. A couple weeks ago, like Darren Dreger was talking about how they might be shipping out Cam Talbot. They might be shipping out Austin Watson, and it's like, you know what? Now they're out there trading first-round picks for term and trying to get that excitement level up, for a little playoff run.
It's good ownership.
It's good to ride the wave right now.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's still tough to make up the points for the playoffs. It's not going to be easy, but they're living to regret that slow start for sure. But the other thing is, though, they've had a lot of injuries this season, and it hasn't been easy for them, and they've just gotten better and better as the season. And maybe not too late. Maybe it's not too late. They got a shot at it. So this adds a lot and helps a lot. I'm excited. I'm excited about the Senators. I'm not excited about the Leafs.
Yeah.
Very good team. And if Austin Matthews is playing the way he is capable of playing, They have an excellent team, but without it, he's not. Not only is he not the Hart Trophy winner, the best player in the league, he's on the Leafs.
Oof.
And in fact, I don't think he's not even maybe top 3 player on the Leafs this season. So that's a problem for them. And I don't know if he's injured or what's going on with him, but they're not around for sure unless Austin Matthews is Austin Matthews. And no one is really asking the question, what's going on with him? Everyone's saying, well, he's having an off season for him, but he's still really good. Yeah, but you don't build a team around someone who's really good. You build a team around a superstar. There's like 3 Senators I would take right now in place of Austin Matthews. Been playing this year.
Yeah.
Starting with Brady Tkachuk. Stützle, wow, he looks great too.
Yeah.
He's just getting better and better as he figures out this league. He's going to be a superstar in the NHL if he's not already. It's 5:20. What's happening with CTV Morning Live? Are they sending up help?
I am unaware as of right now. Normally I see them. I haven't yet. I know it's Stefan for today, just because Annette is still off sick. But post it if I see anybody or any along those lines.
All right. Well, why don't we take a little break here? We'll give them time to get ready.
Perfect.
Morning Rush, morning meeting. We're live at 5.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA. Ottawa's home for live, local, breaking news.
Scene Plus Member Day is Tuesday, March 7th at Sobeys. Get 10% off your groceries Plus points when you spend $75 or more and swipe your Scene Plus for Scene Plus members at Sobeys. Exclusions apply. See in store and online for details.
It's the right time for Anchor Home Comfort.
It's going to be another hot summer, and our air conditioner barely kept up last year.
I'm calling Anchor. I see their green trucks all the time.
It's Anchor Home Comfort's pre-season air conditioning sale. Right now, save up to $3,000 on a new system, plus no money down and no... Hurry, this deal ends March 31st.
Anchor Home Comfort.
It's the right time for Anchor Home Comfort.
Go to anchorhomecomfort.com today to save.
Lottery license RAF 1300108. 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
Go to Chio5050.ca and enter now in the Chio 5050 lottery. The first early bird deadline is Wednesday, March 29th. Buy your tickets now to be eligible for this all-cash lottery. Last year's winner took home over $1 million. Help Chio to provide the exceptional care that families deserve. Chio5050.ca. Get your tickets today. It's the Morning Rush, live at 5.
Is that a cardigan or a sweater?
Oh, it's a cardigan, Bill. Unlike the jacket you wore the other day, this is a cardigan.
I was wearing a cardigan. I don't know why no one could see that. It was clearly a cardigan. And I got my, what's busted for it. You come in looking handsome as can be. And everyone's like, nice cardigan.
Well, thank you, brother.
Nice jacket.
This is not a jacket.
It was a jacket. Yours is a jacket.
That's clearly a cardigan. Sorry, Bill.
See what I mean? Everyone just loves Stefan.
Yeah.
But it's clearly a cardigan. There's just no arguments about it.
Clearly looks exactly the same as the thing I was wearing, which on again, by the way.
Well, I think you should sport it tomorrow.
No, that's it. I'm done with you people.
You retired your jacket all because you don't realize it's a jacket? It looked good on you, brother.
Not a jacket. Definitely just a cardigan.
Okay. All right.
Or a sweater with buttons. It's a cardigan, but not a jacket. So what are you working on in the newsroom this morning?
We're chasing several stories. We're watching the light freezing drizzle, so making sure that everyone takes it easy and we keep that collision count low. We also want to send some well wishes to one of our own at CTV Kitchener. Stephanie Villella was covering a crash when a car ran into her, and so she is in the hospital with some serious injuries. So just thoughts and well wishes to the CTV family.
Yeah, I saw some tweets on that. That's it's pretty scary, and it's a good reminder for everybody, when you're at the scene of a collision. You gotta be very careful.
Overlook the dangers of our own job and about being in the field, but we also saw, the was it last week that a reporter south of the border was gunned down while trying to cover a story? So it's not always the after fact or aftermath of a story that we think it's safe to be in those environments.
Was there enough freezing drizzle out there this morning to cause issues with school buses, or no, you don't think it gets to that level?
I think it's your guess is as good as mine, Bill.
Well, my guesses are always better than yours, Stefan.
Okay, fine. We went there.
Unless
Yes,
it
you're
comes
right.
from clothing. This fashion is not involved.
Fair enough.
Beat every time. I don't know, but I wasn't out there, so I don't know. I didn't get a sense of it. What was your drive like?
I mean, it's picking up. My drive was actually fine. It was okay, but it was as I was driving, so it's definitely picking up at the moment. I imagine than an hour ago or 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's a freezing rain warning in effect right now.
Right.
Till 9:51.
Ooh, so specific.
9:51. They're getting more and more specific with these things.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I don't hear any of it tinkling on my windows or roof or anything like that. But it's more just light, misty drizzle.
That's right. It is a light freezing drizzle.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it to the bus. I don't listen to them because I cannot figure out how they work anymore. Thank you, Stefan. Cool shacket.
Thank you, Bill, for the compliment on the cardigan.
Yeah. You're going to take that off for TV, though, right? You're going to put on a
No.
legit jacket?
No, it's staying on.
Oh, no, you can't.
I mixed up the game.
Oh, he's rocked that before.
No.
No, definitely. Bill.
This is how people in the TV news business get in trouble.
No, wait until
There'll be a
chat
producer
on
somewhere
TV.
going, did anyone approve that jacket he's wearing? I didn't approve that.
This is a step up.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was frayed a bit here and there.
Oh, yeah. We call it
he's still working
distressed. In the fashion world, distressed.
Stefan, if you'd been a woman wearing that, you wouldn't be working here anymore. You'd be gone.
We should try that out. We should test your theory.
You could be whatever you self-identify as, Stefan. Morning, Rosie.
Good morning, Bill.
What's going on out there?
Yeah, we got a little bit of a light freeze right now. It was a little bit heavier about an hour ago. It's starting to taper, but of course, that's going to make for some slick driving conditions, but it is tapering, and it's going to change over to periods of light snow for this morning. But of course, that gives you that light coating, slick coating on the roads. Coming in,
like a sour cream glazed donut at Tim Hortons.
Ah, there you go.
Ooh, I just made myself a little bit hungry.
Oh, yes. Just glaze, just adds enough where you just go satisfied. Or
it feels right afterwards, though. Like, I regret that already.
Yeah.
And since I'm already regretting it, might as well have another
one. Have another one.
Yeah,
because
I'm in this far. Might as well go all the way in.
It's not like it fills you up or anything, right? I mean,
No, it's a little donut. That's the problem. It's got enough calories for a meal.
Right.
It doesn't feel like a meal when you're done.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
like now I'm hungry. Just starting. I'm just warming up now.
Would it work if you ate the meal? Eating the donuts, would you burn?
I tried that, and then I spilled the coffee and burned my lower lip.
No, just sit down and enjoy. We deserve it. We all deserve it. Everybody listening.
Sure,
coffee
whatever.
and donuts.
I haven't earned it, but you've earned it. That's why you look like you've never done it. That's the key. So you can afford to have one every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Are we starting to get a better take on this storm that's supposed to come up for the weekend?
Oh, can we talk about coffee and donuts?
Yeah, that is
I know.
better, isn't it?
Listen, this is a system that's moisture laden coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. Plenty of moisture, and then it's going to collide with Arctic air from the. It's a recipe for a snowstorm. A snowstorm, I'm telling you. So it's going to start up tomorrow night. And at times, the snow is going to be falling at a rate of possibly up to 5 centimeters per hour. We're going to wake up Saturday morning to plenty of snow, about 10 centimeters is what it's looking like. And then we're going to get another 10 centimeters. So when it's all said and done with, we could get 20 more of snow. The snow is going to fall in through Saturday. It's going to start to afternoon. So this snow event is starting tomorrow night, lasting through Saturday afternoon.
This thing is snaking all the way up from San Antonio.
Yep.
diagonally across the rest of the continent, right up to, where is it now? Ooh, it's already...
My map in front of me.
I mean, it's getting close.
Yeah, and...
You could see it's on the other side of...
And Bill, you and I lived in Toronto.
Just south, Rochester.
You and I lived in Toronto, so folks are heading for the hills right now because developed even worse than us, possibly 20 to 30 centimeters.
Yeah, and they can't handle the truth.
Oh, no. 10 centimeters, it's all said and done. You just go home. Or just don't even leave.
There's nowhere to push the snow.
No, they just push it, too. They don't remove it. It just kind of goes, just push it to the side. That's it. So...
I lived downtown when the storm that Mel Lastman brought in.
Oh, you were there.
I was there. Yeah, and people do what you do. They laugh. But they forget that the reason he called in the military was that there was another hit right away, which didn't come. But already, I couldn't get my car out for 2 weeks.
No,
because
it was a lot.
Garages are in little alleys behind homes, and they can't get the plows down there.
Nope.
And even if they do, there's nowhere to put it, and it's a different. It was just a more congested city in the downtown core, and they're not used to getting that much snow there.
No,
to move it out.
There's no snow removal. They just
ambulances into people's homes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We've got a really stellar snow removal system here, and it's going to be working overtime tomorrow night in through Saturday.
All right, but the question is it bad enough this morning to cause real problems with school buses and traffic? It'll slow down for sure.
It'll slow down traffic, and like you said, I'm not really sure about that threshold for school. I can tell you this, the light freezing drizzle is starting to taper, and we're going to see it change over to periods of light snow within the next few hours.
The question is, what did it do to the roads?
There you go. Exactly.
Was there enough salt out there already to stop it? Those are the questions they're going to have to answer. And when they come up with the answer, we'll pass it along to you. Thank you, Rosie.
Thank you, Bill.
5:31, the Morning Rush morning meeting live at 5.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA.
Your update from the CTV Ottawa newsroom starts now.
Good morning, I'm Stefan Keys. It's -1 with a light freezing drizzle coming up. First, your top stories. CSIS Director David Vigneault is scheduled to appear today before a parliamentary committee studying allegations of foreign interference in our elections. Prime Minister Trudeau insists his government is looking very carefully at the recommendations from a report that evaluates for monitoring the 2021 vote. He says Parliament Hill should explore lowering the threshold for when to notify Canadians about potential interference in a campaign.
We've seen number of days and weeks, many Canadians very concerned about the issue of foreign interference into our democracies, into our election processes. We share that concern.
Trudeau continues to public inquiry. The first budget of the Mark Sutcliffe era at Ottawa City Hall has been passed, but Wednesday's council meeting had some issues. Here's CTV's Jackie Perez.
A chaotic start to the final budget meeting as protesters burst into council chambers.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to meeting, please.
Police escorting Robin Brown and Bailey Gauthier outside City Hall. They decrease police funding.
The main message was to councillors to say, please vote no to this police budget.
City Council approving the police budget that saw an increase of $15 million. As for OC Transpo, fares will be frozen this year. 117 buses will be placed out of service, and route changes are pending. Also approving a 2.5% property tax increase, which will cost homeowners about $104. Jackie Perez, CTV News.
A new development delays because of an issue with parking space. Some neighbors say they're worried about traffic problems. Here's CTV's Leah LaRocque.
The building includes 81 units. 1/3 would be affordable housing, but the plan only has 61 parking spaces. Jim Rycroft lives nearby. He says the lack of parking will mean more, calling it the potential for a traffic nightmare.
Well, seniors go along here with their walkers, kids go across to the park. It's a busy area. We have to do something to get it right.
Residents signed a petition opposing the development. The plan was sent back to city staff, delaying the project.
Oh, no, I'm not against affordable housing at all. It's just, I think there's other places that would probably be a little bit better.
My baby's about the parking on the street.
You need it?
With the LRT coming, and there's not a lot of affordable housing, so it should be coming here.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
The Bayard Market is dissolving later this year as a new structure will be created to oversee the district. The city, the BIA, and Ottawa Markets formed a working group to look at a new governance model. Rideau Vanier Councillor Stephanie Blunt supports the move.
The market kind of speaks with one united voice to the city, and this is one of the ways they can do it. And they also want to partner a bit more with a lot of more market-type districts around the give them the leverage to do so.
Businesses say they're hopeful the new model will create a more vibrant Bayard Market with new opportunities for improvement and security. That's the latest from the CTV Newsroom. In-depth coverage, audio, video, and more at CFRA.com and CTVNewsOttawa.ca. Rosietta's in the CTV Weather Center for us.
Snow mixed with freezing drizzle this morning. Then we've got snow into early this afternoon. We'll pick up a few centimeters, 2 degrees the high. And on to Friday, high of 0. Friday night, we've got snow starting up. A large low-pressure system with plenty of moisture is going to bring us snow right through Saturday. When it's all said, up 20 centimeters of snow by Saturday afternoon. Now for a look at time-saver traffic. A wintry mix of wet snow and freezing rain started falling last night. Road conditions could be a little unpredictable. The Ultimate Super Sale starts this Saturday. Save up to 10% on select major appliances and TVs. This weekend only. Visit leons.ca for details.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA. For live, local, breaking news.
Are you exploring senior living options for yourself or a loved one? Chartwell Rideau Place Retirement Residence in Ottawa's sophisticated Sandy Hill neighborhood offers a social lifestyle for seniors that is truly worry-free. Explore and outdoor amenities along the Rideau River, personalized service experience delivered by a tenured staff, and lively bilingual community. Don't delay. Ask them about their limited time offer too. Chartwell offers 16 residents in the Ottawa and Gatineau area. Learn more at Chartwell.
You're listening to The Morning Rush with Bill Carroll on News Talk 580 CFRA and the iHeart Network.
Let me say that we are extraordinarily lucky and happy to have a member of parliament like Han Dong in our midst, serving his community, serving our country alongside Chinese Canadian MPs from different parts of the country, alongside a diverse group of MPs who are proud Canadians, even as they trace their origins to elsewhere around the world.
Yeah, that's the dog whistle, right? That's the Prime Minister suggesting to ask questions about Chinese interference in the election, which is utter nonsense. These are important questions, and don't throw the race card around to try to silence your critics. Anyway, we can't have CSIS, our spy agency, tell us who should run. And he got really mad. Oh, how could we do this? No one's suggesting that either. No one's suggesting CSIS should be able to say that guy can't be a candidate. They should go to the party leader and say there might be an issue here and let his decision to make, not CSIS, and no one is suggesting otherwise. These straw man arguments and this race card, I'm sick of it. We should all be furious. There are valid questions to be asked about Chinese interference in our election. And probably other governments have tried from time to time, and probably always will. But did it have an impact or didn't it? Brian Lilly joins us from Sun Media. He's been following this story very closely, and I wanted his take on it. Yeah, Brian, I think some of the reporting I read this morning about this latest panel of civil servants and what they are saying about interference, reported a little bit. But good morning. How are you?
I'm well. And let's get into that report in a minute. But I want to point something out when people say we don't have to worry and don't question Han Dong. Trudeau makes it out like he's not loyal to Canada, he says. Well, that's not actually the allegation. The allegation is that China interfered to help him win the election. Why did they do that? They weren't happy with the previous Liberal MP for Don Valley North. They wanted someone that believed was on certain issues. So let me give you an example. You don't have to be selling state secrets, but Trudeau says, don't question, hand on. Well, I'm going to, because February 1st, beginning of last month, there were 3 votes in a row in the House of Commons. Andon was there for 2 of them, but not the one in the, 2, but not the middle one. So he was there to vote unanimously on ratifying Bill C-35, the Liberals' plan on childcare. He was there for another one on adjusting the criminal code, but the one in the middle where everyone, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, stood up to condemn China and their genocide of Uyghur Muslims, he suddenly had to get up and go to the bathroom. And it's not the only vote that he's missed where the majority being the government China. He suddenly has a case of, I need to leave or I can't be here. That deserves to be questioned. And so far, Mr. Don has not answered questions on that. He's not the only one that's missed votes on this that need to be questioned. But, why? Why can't you stand up and criticize China? Is there a reason? We'd like to hear the reason. I think the public deserves to know.
Well, my assumption was, out in one of your columns, that the Chinese government supports. I mean, you've already talked a little bit about it, that you're a spy or you're doing exactly their bidding. It could also be that, hey, this politician seems to back issues in a way we'd prefer, so we'd rather have this person in Parliament than that person. So you might be voting with your own conscience, but it happens to line up more with what the Chinese government would use, and so they're helping to get you elected. That's still a concern, though. That doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean the MP is actively working for China. Have interfered in the election by a bit of a leg up, and that's a question we have to ask. Can we talk a little bit about this report?
Can I just jump in, because and this will lead into the report. Kenny Chu was a Conservative MP from the Vancouver area. He was defeated in the last election, and if you ask Kenny Chu why, and he is ethnically Chinese, born in Hong Kong, life. You ask him why, it's because he stood up for a policy that the people in Beijing wanted. So whether it's one candidate being elected, that is too much interference from a foreign government. But this report, and now we can jump into that, ask away, this report says that those 2 examples of one MP being elected or defeated, that's not be concerned for the expert panel to be concerned that this magical threshold has been crossed.
I know you're about to post a column about this, so I haven't had a chance to read it. I've been doing a radio show, but it sounds like you're asking. I'm reading these reports last night, and this word threshold keeps coming up. It didn't pass the threshold. Well, who decided what the threshold is?
They don't define it. It's not defined in law. It's not defined by the panel. And in fact, this report says that where the threshold is. So let me...
Well, then it's meaningless to say it didn't cross the threshold.
Yeah, so the panel didn't... Here's a quote, though. However, the national security agencies saw attempts at foreign interference, but not enough to have met the threshold of impacting electoral integrity. Okay, what does that mean? Another quote from the report. If there was a clear case of interference that affected a single riding or targeted an ethnic group, it is unlikely to be considered significant to threaten the credibility of the entire election, the report says.
Really? Don't you think even if one member of parliament got elected because of their interference, doesn't that cross a threshold?
Yeah, or Kenny Chu being defeated for that same reason, or the Chinese-Canadian community being targeted with disinformation by a foreign government. Those things all happened. And this panel, led by Morris Rosenberg, who's a man who was heading up the Trudeau Foundation when they started taking huge amounts of money from China, including from a guy that was involved in a long-term attempt to interfere in Canada's democracy. He's the guy who wrote the report saying, nothing to see here. Like, you know, if I wrote plausible, but it happened. That's what happened. Handpicked guy who ran the Trudeau Foundation and, you know, has connections to some of the people being discussed in this interference, writes the report saying, and yet that same report says, let me read you two more quotes. CSIS expressed concerns that China notably tried to target elected officials to promote their national interests and encouraged individuals to act as proxies on their behalf. What, like not voting for certain motions or bills? The report also says CSIS stated that techniques, including threats to the Chinese community in Canada. However, the use of proxy agents makes it difficult to know that China is behind it. But to the Chinese community, asking questions about that is racist, according to Justin Trudeau.
I don't think that argument's going to work for him. I think that every day a new Canadian wakes up and says, what's going on with our election? And Chinese Prime Minister not being more straightforward about it. And this report is not going to make it go away.
New poll out from Angus Reid, just released this morning while you're on air. But it popped into my inbox about 20 minutes ago. 32% of Canadians say China definitely. 33% say probably. 17% say maybe. Only 6% say no. And the rest say, I don't know. So, you know, for people that a sense of what's going on, the overwhelming majority say, yeah, this happened. And by the way, they want the government to take a tougher stand against this, including the majority of Liberal voters.
And, you know, we can't let any kind of bullying stop us from at least asking these questions. They're too important, and the Prime Minister can't make that vanish by painting opposition as racist. It's not going to work this time.
Can I make a plea to the MPs who sit on the committee that meets at 3 o'clock today, examining this? The Prime Minister has said that he wants things to be open and transparent. What he's done is he has told them to go in and block requests for documents. He's told them to block requests for witnesses, which means they can't really investigate. The Liberal MPs on this committee have to stand up and serve the people of Canada and not PMO. This is not a partisan issue. This is a foreign government attempting to interfere in our elections. We need to know, and country has to come before party.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Bill.
Brian Lilly, Sun Media. It's the Morning Rush. Good morning.
Ottawa, up to the minute.
5:47 -1 right now. Let's get you up to date here on what's going on in the world. Stefan Keys drops by from the CTV Newsroom. Good morning.
Bill, the City of Ottawa's 2023 budget passed unanimously, but it wasn't without protest or disruption. 2 protesters had to be escorted out. Seemingly, the issue was it and them wanting to see it shrunk. Bill.
From the CTV Weather Center, good morning, Rosie.
Good morning to you, Bill. We still got that light freezing drizzle falling. It should change over to periods of light snow over the next few hours into the afternoon. But just watch out for the roadways. Pretty slick out there. And then we're going up to a high of 2 degrees today. Tomorrow, sunny start, increasing cloudiness, a high of 0. Tomorrow night, Friday night, we have a large storm system pushing into the region. Into the afternoon, when it's all said and done with, we're probably going to pick up about 20 centimeters, Bill. It could even be a bit more than that.
I don't even see this freezing drizzles popping up on the radar.
You don't see it on the radar right there? It's
very weather radar. It's not.
Yeah, and I have to say, we had it up until, I would say, about 30 minutes ago into the downtown region. So it's got to be free. And very stealth,
whatever it is.
Very light right now. I mean, it was falling about 30 minutes ago, but right now if anything, it's going to be freezing mist because into the downtown core, I don't see it falling as well. And looking at my radar as well, really, really light. I suspect this is going to change
maybe
over.
the sort of tail end of it has moved out now.
Yeah, I think it's going to just
into
change
the Montreal
over.
area, but it's
right.
It's just this little tiny system.
Yeah, and it's very weak as well, Bill. So into as daylight comes up, morning, it's going to change over to just some periods of very light snow.
All right, thank you. Let's get our first look at traffic here, see if it's having any impact this early on. I doubt it. Hope not. Time saver traffic this morning. Sarah Capello is back to help us out. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Bill. There has been an accident at the 417 westbound on-ramp at Parkdale. The ramp is now closed, so southbound traffic is being directed under the 417. The roads are pretty slick out there, so take care while driving. But other than that, no delays or issues.
5:49 -1. We'll take a pause here and find out what Katie's working on for trending. Coming up next.
This is News Talk 580 CFRA.
If you've been let go recently or someone you know has been let go from their job, how was their severance pay? You probably thought it was okay, right? Most people do. Then you ask a few people that know, hey, they gave me 1 week for every 10 years I've worked there. Is that about right? Yeah, well, no, I've heard you 10 years. People all have their theories. You can even go to the Ministry of Labor website and you'll get an estimate there. Lior Samfiru, who's an employment lawyer who deals with this 20 times a day, all day long. This is what he does. He would tell you, those websites tell you nothing. It's very individual. And chances are, in almost every case he sees, when people call him or email him and say, here's what they offered me for severance, is it enough? Almost always the answer is no. We can do much better than that. Not just better, much better than that. More than enough to make it worthwhile bringing a lawyer into the picture, because 1 or 2 emails or phone calls, Lior gets it solved and you end up with a much bigger severance check. And, I'm in the luxury of finding a job that's similar to the one you have now, that pays you the way you're already being paid. So that's what severance is supposed to be about. So make sure Lior gets it for you. You can email him, help@employmenthour.com. That's help@employmenthour.com.
Satisfy your snack cravings with corn. It's on sale this week, $1.50 off the 125-gram bags. Now just $1.99, including real butter, white cheddar, or low sodium, all popped with coconut oil.
Enjoy the fresh outdoors. Important role in the lives of school-age children. Get paid to make a difference in your community. Become a crossing guard. We are currently recruiting crossing guards for the school year. We offer a competitive wage with various perks and opportunities for bonuses. Join the Ottawa Safety Kids Safe in the nation's capital. Find out more at crossing-guard.ca.
Bravery isn't the